Have you ever noticed how the best ideas come at the most unexpected times? That magical spark you feel when that idea just appears. Now, the question is those are great, those are very powerful, but can you harness that so that you can call on it spontaneously and on demand? Most would say no. And when you ask why, they blame it on suffering from creative block. Now, the question is can you overcome these creative blocks that prevent spontaneous creativity on demand? Now, my opinion, overcoming creative blocks is fully achievable and much simpler than you've ever imagined. Stick with me for a few minutes, and I'm going to share with you the 5 steps I use to overcome creative block and tap into my creativity at any time and on demand. So, what is creative block? Well, creative block is kind of like writer's block. It's staring at that black canvas, that page of a book or a presentation that you got to start writing, or that screen if you're a designer trying to come up with ideas, and you're feeling stuck. Now, have you ever wondered why your creativity seems to have the worst timing and takes that unscheduled vacation just when you need it most? Now, there's a myth of creative block that there's some kind of you need to wait for the inspiration. You need to wait for your muse to arrive. You're gonna wait a long time, and it's the most common approach new people coming into the creative space fall the trap into. Oh, I'm gonna sit here until I feel inspired. Well, the reality is your creativity never left. It's not controlled by some muse. Now, understanding and navigating through these reasons behind the creative struggles that, look, we all have is going to be key to your creative success. Now, I've struggled with it, and I've had many struggles with what I would have blamed as creative block. What I have found is a set of actionable steps to reignite my creativity, to get me going, and to keep me going. Now, there is, again, this it's kind of this view that creative block or even just creativity in general is this something magical is happening. And it's not the case. You are naturally creative. Repeat that. You are naturally creative. Creative block is not that you've lost your creativity. It's just that you have this temporary inability to access it. Now, when I was writing my book, Beyond the Obvious, what did I learn as an author talking to other authors? And that was if I sat around waiting for inspiration, waiting until I had it all worked out, there would never be a book written. In fact, my agent, Mark, he's a literary agent in New York City. After I finished my book, I got really ticked off at him because I said, this is the hardest thing I've ever done. And you didn't, make me aware of how I should go about this and how do I keep on track and how do I make sure I deliver against. And I had a contract with Hyperion. I had a contractual commitment to Hyperion to have the book done on a certain day, and they had paid me a meaningful amount of money to do that. And staying on track and feeling like I was doing my best work, it was hard. Mark laughed. He goes, look, if we ever told authors the truth about how hard writing a book is, nobody would ever write a book. So what did I learn through that process? I talked to a number of top authors. Hyperion made some of their top authors accessible to me, and we exchanged kind of what were our projects we were on and etc. But what I found was common amongst artists and authors and innovators is don't wait until you feel inspired. That you have to apply a set of disciplines. You have got to show up, and it's all about showing up and less about waiting. And so some of the common reasons behind these creative blocks and why we're waiting and not just doing. And this was running around in my head. My very first book being published by a national publisher, getting onto the street, was fear of failure. What happens if this book bombs? What if it's no good? So you never start because of the fear of failure. The other thing I learned, perfectionism. I am a perfectionist. I'm also a notorious procrastinator. But what I've found and learned over the years is that it's my perfectionism that causes me to be a procrastinator. I won't start until I'm confident that I can do this job at the absolute best level and that it would be perfect. Another common reason for creative blocks is burnout. You've been going at it, you've been grinding on it. It's why many authors, many artists, after they made a major deliverable, finished your transcript, submit it to your publisher, finished up this magical mural art piece, and you've released it into the world or it's showing in a gallery, is take some time. Go off, relax, go away for a month. Don't think about it. You have to recharge. And then last, and this is by far, is lack of routine. Oh, whenever I've got some free time, I sit down and try to write my book. Or when, when the kids are maybe have a long weekend and I don't have anything going on, I'll work on that picture or painting or I carry my camera, but I'm too busy with being distracted and things. I just never take any pictures. I need to be distracted. Lack of routine versus every morning, 5:30, get up, write 1,000 words on your book. Get, at lunchtime, take your lunch, go off into a quiet place and sketch out ideas for the new painting you want to do. Establish that routine. And we're going to talk more about this. So those are kind of the common reasons. So what I've learned over my years of struggling with creative block are 5 steps that I use to overcome them. And I'm going to share with you all 5 of those steps, and hopefully they help you. So step 1, establish the routine. I've just talked about it. The fact that, you just waiting around for the thing to happen. It's important to have a structured, creative routine. Now, there's lots of ways to establish a routine. One is setting aside a specific time for creativity. Now, in my case, I do my best writing, I do my best creative work early in the morning. So 5:30, I'm up, I'm sitting here at this desk working on my blog post, the next podcast episode, the next YouTube video. I'm in here in my studio. It's a separate end of the house, way at the other end. There's nothing down here to distract me, and I can focus. Second is preparing your workspace. I used to think that workspace preparation was not that important. But for me, what I have found is, 1, minimizing those distractions. So on my end of the house, where my office/studio is at, is all about no distraction. When the doors are closed, and I have 2 sets of doors, I have a lower set of doors and an upper set of doors, everybody in the house knows, don't cross those doors. Don't come to this end of the house. My grandkids even know that. They will patiently wait for me to come out so that I can go heads down and really focus. Also, treat your creative time as non-negotiable. It's blocked on your calendar. It's blocked. Everybody knows that, hey, early in the morning, that's Phil's time. He's working on his blog, the next book, whatever. Step 2, be willing to embrace imperfection. And this is incredibly hard for me to admit to because I'm a perfectionist. I know it, but it can be paralyzing. And by embracing imperfection and getting comfortable, it leads to freedom and creativity. Now, there's lots of artists who, are willing to embrace imperfections, in their work. Authors have to learn how to do this. Why? Because your first draft sucks. So there's this kind of nomenclature that creatives, innovators use, right? And you've heard this, you've heard me say it, and that is ship crappy. Get it out there and use it as a feedback mechanism. Use it as input. And what it does is it allows you not to use this to hold you back, to not get into your groove and work on it. And then experimentation. The whole purpose of getting something out there is experimentation. It allows you to grow, and it allows you to get out of the habit of this perfectionism. The key here is progress over perfection. It's not about producing the perfect article, the perfect YouTube video, the perfect podcast episode. It's about getting it out there. Ship it, get it out there, and then learn in the next one. Look, I've been doing this for 20 years. The podcast, we're in our 20th season since 2005. You went back and listened to the 2005 episodes, and yes, they are still up and they are still available. If you listen to those, you would understand the concept of ship crappy. Get it out there, use the feedback, listen to your feedback from the users, and adjust and learn. But waiting for it to be perfect, then that becomes that creative block that's going to prevent you from really achieving creative success. Step 3, look for new experiences. We all get in a rut. We get in a pattern. I get in a pattern. I drive the exact same way to work every day. I enter the exact same door in the office. I see the exact same people in the lobby. I see the exact same people around my cube. Go for new experiences. And I've got a couple of episodes in the past where I've talked about this. Drive a different way to work. Go to a restaurant you normally don't go to. Take a vacation someplace you've never taken a vacation to before. Join a club that you would never think about doing. I've been thinking about signing up for dance classes with my wife. She would love it. Not my cup of tea, but it's something that gives a new experience. And new experiences feed our subconscious. And what's the role of our subconscious? To be the spark. As we started off talking about, it's the spark that all of a sudden aligns up a bunch of different dots in your subconscious, and that becomes the spark of your idea. So you need to stimulate your subconscious. New experiences do that. One of the things I've gotten into most recently is reading books that are outside the normal genre of books. I typically read a lot of future fiction, science fiction, but probably 85% of my reading is nonfiction. And I've been trying to read more fiction and more future-oriented fiction, again, as that new experience, new stimulation. And again, it's about creating these new perspectives and these new ideas. So, step 4, practice self-care. I cannot underestimate this. It is important for you to take care of yourself, especially for artists and creatives. You need to take a break. You need to prioritize your mental health, your physical well-being for optimal creativity. Now, there's a lot of different ways you can work on your mental health. One is you got to just take a break. What hobbies do you have? If you tell me you have no hobbies, or your hobby is also your creative activity, now find a new hobby. Now, your hobby may come your creative. You may have been a real passionate amateur photographer, and now you're going to become a professional photographer. Well, what's the new hobby? What do you replace that photography with? Become kind of the thing that gives you the mental break. Second is, and one that I don't jump up and volunteer for, and that's exercise. Go off, burn off some energy, get those endorphins going. Me, I don't really exercise. I'll walk, I'll hike, but I'm not really into the exercise thing. That, and try something new. I've been having to relearn how to tie knots in order to teach my grandson, who is very active in outdoor activities and that, and he's got, for his badge, he's got a requirement to learn knots. So I've had to go, and I'm cheating, cramming on YouTube videos to relearn, but that manipulation of taking a rope and tying different kinds of knots and then doing it with my eyes closed and tying them behind my back, right? Things I used to do when I was a teenager, getting that muscle memory back, And I found that it's actually exercising my my brain in such a way that I didn't have any experience before. And I'm actually getting kind of into it. So try something new, something you haven't tried, particularly something that manipulates, something you got to touch, build, make. Those are great stimuluses. And then step 5, and this is a drumbeat for me, collaborate and share. If you just do it yourself and you keep it locked in your idea notebook or keep it in your office or your studio, then you're missing an opportunity for that feedback. I would also encourage you to join creative communities, both online and offline. Find a local photography club if that's your thing, a local painting group, a ceramic group, music, recording. I've got a full 4K and 8K recording studio here in mine, and I've been thinking about if I've got a way to actually open it up, because I've got a big, fairly large studio, to host a local group here in Colorado and have them hang out here in the studio and do creative projects and use that as another form of stimulus. And sharing work. The key here on sharing work is not about just receiving praise, but it's also about learning and growing, using it as feedback, but also giving feedback to others and working on that. So those are the 5 steps that I use, right? So, it's get your routine established, embrace your imperfection, seek those new experiences, practice self-care, very important, and collaborating. So, again, overcoming creative block is not about discovering some secret formula that somebody out there claims they know. It's about a commitment to the creative process. Your creativity did not leave you. It's waiting for you to take the first step. So, I'm going to really admonish you. Let's go out and implement, try these steps, get your routines going, go out and create those new experiences, feed that subconscious, look to drive that creative spark. And I'm interested in hearing your thoughts, your own experiences. Maybe you've got a little thing that you do and you've learned that helps you when you run into the creative block. If so, put it in the comments so that not only maybe I'll engage, but also everybody that's part of the community can see what you're doing, and then they can also give you feedback or encourage you, or you can encourage them. So again, put that down in the comments below. And also, while you're down there putting those comments in, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the upcoming episodes. And also, just give us some feedback. Are there topics, things that you would want us to cover? And so, with that, I'm going to wrap up today's show, keeping this pretty short. And hopefully you found this useful. Let me know. Drop me a note. Otherwise, get consistent, establish your process, follow through, feed your subconscious with new experiences, find communities you can collaborate with. And here at Killer Innovations, we can be that community. Share with what you're working on. Would love to hear about it. And with that, work on your ideas, go out and change the world. We'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.